Hi GMAT students, solve this under 30 seconds without using calculator. So if your answer is correct and you get it right, drop your answer in the comment section under 10 seconds or 30 seconds and we shall receive a love icon. Now let's look at this. This is next radical equation. How many layers do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 square root layers here. So instead of expanding, just simplify. So just write it like this. Since each square root multiplies the powers by 1 over 2, so you shall now have 1 over 2, 1 over 2 square, 1 over 2 raised to power 3, and 1 over 2 raised to power 4. Then you summate, you add them. So you now have 1 over 2, 1 over 4, plus 1 over 8 plus 1 over 16. Now let's have a quick recall, that is the quick shortcut under what? Geometric expression. So you know that we always have the first term to be 1 over 2 here according to this sequence. Then a common ratio will be what? 1 over 2 as well, because 1 over 4 divided by 1 over 2 will give you 1 over 2. Now how many terms do we have? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sum of 4th term here now. Sum of 4th term here will be first term into bracket 1 minus common ratio raised to power the number of terms over 1 minus common ratio. So the next thing you shall have now is the first term is 1 over 2 into bracket 1 minus 1 over 2 raised to power what? The term all over 1 minus 1 over 2. So we now have 1 over 2 into bracket 1 minus 1 over 16. Is that not? All over 1 minus half will give you what? Half. Now let's continue. Automatically this can cancel this. So we now have 1 minus 1 over 16, which is the same thing as what? 15 over 16. So these square root layers now becomes 15 over 16. So we now have s raised to power 15 over 16 is equals to 125. Then you simplify from here. So now s, divide both sides by 15 over 16 to get x. X is equals to 1 over 25 into bracket or raised to power what? 15. That's 16 over 15. That's what you shall have. So remember, 5 raised to power 3, that is 5 in 3 places will give you 125, raised to power what? 16 over 15. 3 here 1, 3 here, 3 in 15, 5. So you shall now have 5 raised to power 16 over 5. This is your answer. You can leave it like this, or you can also simplify it further by following what? Law of indices, that says that since you have this, you can have 5 raised to power 3 times 5 raised to power 1 over 5. Is that not? So you can now have 1 over 125, 125. Then this is 5 fifth root. So you can have 125 times cube root of 5. This is now answer. So in order for you to get the exact value or approximating value, you can use calculator, but this is the final answer for this. So for more tricks like this, don't forget to follow Shalima Maths TV. Bye bye.